I'm in bed. It was a lot easier. Today was probably the first good day that we've had in like a month. I think. No, let me take that back. Like a month and a half, because those two females went right after the other. Poor Crew. He has been like he got nicknamed Crazy Eyes for like the last month and a half. Contrary to popular belief, I don't like being mean. I don't like being that guy. It sucks when you're good at it. It really does. It sucks having to be stern and strict with somebody you don't really want to be stern and strict with. Because I just look at him and I'm like, dude, I've had you. You're not even mine, but I've had you since you were like, what, 3 months old? Like, I've trained you. I've protected you. I've held you in my arms when you were scared and made you like. He really is like my child. I mean, they all are, really, if you think about it. What else breeds with consistency other than trust and love and everything you need to expand that type of relationship? But even though I'm really good at it, because I kind of have to be with myself if I want to live the life I want to live. But I hate it. I literally hate having to be the strong one. But I don't know where I picked it up from, but I've always carried around like The Rock also needs his rock. You know, the rock for everybody else also needs that rock for themselves. And that's the unfortunate part, is you can never really be the rock for yourself. I mean, you can project that, and that's what the rest of the world kind of sees, or that's what they want to see. But it's never really the truth. Like, if we're being honest, like truly, if we're being honest, it's never the case. So I'm really, really glad we're almost done. The little one was done a few weeks ago. I'm glad now that Stella's almost done and we can get back to normal. And I don't have to be like stern, staunch, up the butt kind of dad to the animals to make sure that they don't have any more babies. I'm kind of glad about that. But that in and of itself, that little story in and of itself is kind of where I wanted to go with the talk tonight. None of us, unless you're actually, hi guys, unless you're actually of the boomer generation, none of us have grown up in a time that wasn't fuck you, pay me, or fuck you, got mine. Like this arrogance, this egotism, hustle culture, all of that. You would never know that it literally did not exist pre-boomer generation being adults. Do you guys realize that? Like, there was a point in time in American history where, yes, there was segregation, you know, white state over here, black state over there, unless you're in a truly accepting culture back then, which it only seems like there were a few states that even tried to broach that. But it was generally strong communities all the way around. Black people were upholding black people and their culture and their businesses. Like these little psyops, if you want to call them that, like I just call them flat out lies. Like we need to support this culture. It's never been done. We need to support, like, it's always been done. You're buying into the rhetoric. You're buying into the bullshit. Like, there was a time in American history where everybody could stand together, all of us got ours, and we were all happy for the other guy. It wasn't this fake, oh yeah, I'm glad for... Fuck you, he got his, I didn't get mine. That literally started with the boomer generation. Because you had a full, like literally, full generation of kids that didn't have to really learn anything. Their parents had already done the work for them. You're coming out of the silent era. They had done all the work to get us back up to speed after World War II, get us back churning again, so we could have something like the 50s. And they really grew up in a time where they didn't need to earn anything. They didn't need to prove anything. Everything, what they accuse the Gen X generation of, the millennial generation of, everything on down the line, is exactly what they were handed. They were literally handed the keys to the kingdom, and they pissed it all away. And they transmuted this culture that used to be, even though there's segregation, like, all of us knew we all had to pitch in, because we were coming out of the time that we almost crashed and burned. Like, literally, like, the American dream was almost zilch for everyone. So it didn't matter. That's what I hate about narratives, right? Like, yeah, there's always been racism. There's always been some kind of segregation of one kind or another. But they really lie about this era, because coming back from war, everybody understood that they had to pitch in. They had to do their part. It didn't matter if you were black. It didn't matter if you were white. It didn't matter if you were Hispanic. It didn't matter anything. Unless you're Asian. That's a different story altogether. There was heavy racism toward Asians right after World War II. I mean, George Carlin has a whole spiel of stand-up on this shit that everybody laughs at, but literally, if you listen to what he's saying, he's calling us all pieces of shit. And he's not wrong. Like, a lot of people would say, like, if George Carlin came back today, he would literally just kill himself because he couldn't handle being right about what happened to the America that he remembered. But it's this, like, they came into the world, into adulthood, at a time where a handshake deal for them cemented a career for their lifetime, where they could support a family of 5 on minimum wage and still own a home. Literally, boomers were handed the keys to the kingdom. They were handed the world. And they all burned it down around them for whatever fucking reason. All because they grew old and decided, well, I can't live forever, and if I can't take this with me, I don't want anybody else to have it, so I'm going to burn it all to the ground. And we are left, all of us, to live in those ashes and deal with those repercussions. I don't care what generation you were. I mean, most people who have boomer parents are generally Gen X, Zennials, early millennials. But if you have boomer parents, you will probably know what I'm talking about. Nobody else works harder than them. No one else is smarter than them. If you challenge anything, God forbid you prove them wrong, if you do anything, it's like a nuclear holocaust. Like, they will literally stomp. Like, I dare you. Like, prove a boomer wrong and watch how they act. I promise you, they all act like a 2-year-old that you take a toy away from. Imagine that. Imagine a grown-ass old man or woman that they say something that they think to be true, or they say something to try to shut you up, and you come back and prove them wrong. How dare you? Watch them explode. Watch how they act. Listen to the words. It's a 2-year-old. It's a 5-year-old throwing a tantrum. Me. No, there is no accountability for that generation. None. Zip, zero, zilch. Everything is always somebody else's problem. If they missed a day and you only paid them for 4 days instead of 5 because they missed that day, they will try to make you feel like shit to give them that extra day that they did not earn. Whatever. Anyways, I'm old. Remember, I'm blind. We're talking about a generation that was literally born into everything they could ever want. And because it was that easy for them, and they know it was, they don't want anybody else to know. They don't. Don't find me out. Oh God, they're gonna find out. They're not the smartest. They're not. Look at our president. Key example of what a fucking boomer is. This dude was born into a well-off family, but he likes to call himself self-made because daddy gave him $1 million and he turned it into $1 billion. First off, congrats. You know, I'm never going to talk shit about that. That is skill. Like, that is something more than just having something handed to you. So I won't talk shit about that, but let's not forget, that is a boomer. That is a perfect example. He was born into something that was completely handed to him. Turnkey, ready to go. Handshake agreement, you got a career for life. That is the example of what his entire generation, all boomers, went through. You're looking at late 60s, early 70s, into 80s. You're looking at people that you see as old, but inside they're still children. There was never any kind of hard road that generation had to take. They were so selfish. Do you realize this? Everybody's talking right now about Gen Z losing their retirement and everything else. Gen X and millennials went through that back in the early 2000s. Where the fuck have you been? Oh yeah, that's right. You weren't alive. Yeah, but Bush did that back to us back in the day already. That's nothing new to us. We already know we have to die working because of this selfish fucking generation. We already know that. So how do we... Here's the overall question, right? how do we, both generationally and collectively as a people, separate from that generation, because they're almost gone. Thank God. They're almost gone. Yay. How do we correct what they fucked up? Now, I'm not going to be stupid and think that the Gen Xers or the millennials, sorry guys, are ever going to get our retirement back. We're never going to get that back. But what can we do to guarantee that we put the things back into place that they took away? And we had no control over what they took away from us. We were too young when they did this. Like, do you guys realize that? Some of you people weren't even born yet, and the rest of us were too young to have a say in what happened. That's literally facts. You take away retirement from generations of people because your generation was so selfish, you had to own everything. And if you can't take it with you, no one else can have it. Okay, boomer. How do we collectively, minus those motherfuckers, correct those wrongs, knowing already that the government never reinstates rights or privileges that they've already taken away? How do we do that? Legitimate question. I have my own ideas, but a lot of people would think that'd be too radical. But I do have my own ideas about that. Like, literally, it is going to have to take collectively a group of people, Gen X, that wants nothing to do with the way the world works. They're willing to go along with the script, just leave us the fuck out of it kind of thing, right? And then how do we get millennials who are, by this point, generationally burned out, because most millennials ended up with boomer parents because they were selfish. They decided to have kids later in life, not earlier. Like, so they're going, give them 10 years, they're going to be right there with Gen X. They're not going to give a fuck. Go fuck yourself, good night, blah, blah, blah. Like, so how do we do it? We already know the system's rigged. We already know, and I dared you guys to do this already. We already know that we could take a whole cycle of voting off and it wouldn't make a fucking difference. And I've told you guys that. They have things in place to guarantee it. So how do we do it? Because everybody's so scared. Like, oh, go off the grid. Oh, break away. I don't know. Break away society and all this other. Like, you guys do realize that most nations do not actually have the resources to back up the money they spend, right? It's just a piece of paper. We issue the value of what that means. Us, as a people, we accept that. We put that into play. It doesn't matter if they planned it out or not. Everything relies upon us, right? Like, I'm going to tell anybody where I'm from. And what the fuck? What the fuck is that about? Anyways. So, how do we correct something that is generationally fucked us? Because as far as I see it, I mean, and this is a practical view of things, all right? This is practicality here. Once the boomer generation's gone, you also have to throw out everybody of every other single generation that is serving in office. You have to. Why? Because you cannot trust them. They are all under the hierarchy of that generation. They're going to perpetuate the same cycle over and over. We as a people have to boot them out and start a new cycle. Oh God, work. Oh, come on. If you want something done right, you gotta do it yourself, right? And nothing in this world is for free. It's gonna cost money and work. But that's the only way. It literally, you have to throw out the baby with the bathwater once they're gone. Because everybody that's in there right now is under their hierarchy. They're just going to continue to do things the same way over and over again. They're already infected. You have to wipe the slate clean and put new people in there that haven't been brainwashed into that same way of thinking. Oh God, work. You have to do work if you want better results. Oh my God, that's a foreign concept in this day and age. Work? No way. Yeah, you actually have to work for what you want. So if you want change, you have to be the change. No one else is going to do it for you. So, are you going to sit around and complain? Or are you going to do the work?